Reading out today a couple of pieces related to Straub Huillet's 1997 feature From Today Until Tomorrow, Von Hoyt auf Morgen. Okay, this is from a piece promoting a screening of the film at the San Francisco International Film Festival. Not sure which year. Oh, shown in 1990. I guess it's the directory of all the films shown on it at the festival. That might be useful. Based on an unknown Schoenberg opera from 1929, From Today Until Tomorrow explores one night in a not quite loveless marriage. A husband and wife return from a party where she has flirted with another man, while he has cast an appraising eye toward an attractive, fashionably dressed acquaintance of his wife's. Though each dreams briefly of leaving the marriage for the excitement and mystery of a new lover, in the end they decide stability and comfort are more important than the fleeting thrill of new romance. Directors Jean-Marie Straub and Daniel Huillet, who previously collaborated on two other films about music, The Chronicle of Anna Magdalena Bach 1968 and Moses and Aaron 1975, rely on long fixed shots in austere black and white so that the focus remains on the musical brilliance of Schoenberg's atonal score, performed here by 70 musicians. That Schoenberg would choose such a relatively light-hearted message for his newly discovered musical language remains a mystery, especially since the conclusion reached by the husband and wife, to stick with the tried and true, seems directly at odds with Schoenberg's own philosophy of composing. It is just this juxtaposition, however, coupled with Straub and Huillet's faithful presentation, that makes the opera a compelling addition to the Schoenberg canon, and the film such a challenging and intriguing experience. And now here, this piece, written, published at least last year, From Today Until Tomorrow. This is from Ming Sao. What does it mean to be modern? For Huillet and Straub, the danger of becoming modern, or more generally modernization, means to despise all that has gone before and to chase after shadows, where everything becomes privatized, plundered, and destroyed by the idea of growth and development. Schoenberg's defense for a modern music is given in form in his opera Von Hoyt auf Morgen, 1929, based on a libretto by his wife Gertrude under the pseudonym Max Blonder. It is the first opera to make use of Schoenberg's 12-tone technique, in which no tone recurs until all remaining tones have been used, thereby destabilizing any sense of harmonic center. Yet this wholly modern technique is used in the service of a libretto that relegates the modern, suggested by sexual liberation through open marriage, to simply fashion and a threat to the idea of fidelity. As Max Blonder writes in the libretto, fashion is your director, but for us, it is, dare I say it, love. Yet Schoenberg's integration of the 12-tone technique is to defend the tradition of monogamous marriage as a symbol for fidelity, particularly the fidelity of an artistic work, to the rigor of its materialization, whether opera or film, speaks to the dialectical nature of what it means to be a radical artist. As Karl Marx once said in a contribution to the critique of Hegel's philosophy of right, to be radical is to grasp things by the root. Radical sein ist die Sache an der Wurzel fassen. But the roots for Schoenberg as well as for Huillet and Straub are located precisely in history and tradition, whereby radicality implies some degree of conservation, preservation, and love. As Straub has remarked, we have something concrete beneath our feet, the earth, and we must have the ability to enjoy the earth so as to be in a position to protect it. After Schoenberg's warning in which a new music is only possible if we care for it, composer Helmut Lachenmann's response almost 90 years later, with his orchestral work Marche Fatale 2017, is entirely negative. His response occurs after the West's imminent collapse from endless wars and neoliberal economic policies. Indeed, what is called new music today has become decontextualized from tradition and history, endlessly grasping at fashionable trends, and is ultimately marching off a cliff. Once you've hammered into people the idea that only what is contemporary and modern exists, be it economic fashions or the supposed political or moral coercions, then it gets to the point where the human being believes he lives better than anyone has ever lived before or ever could live. No movement occurs anymore. It's a quote from Igor. I think it's from an interview with Straub and Huillet from 97. Regarding this film, probably, I assume, presumably. For Huillet and Straub, Von Hoyt auf Morgen is a declaration of war against modernization to reaffirm the possibility for something truly new. Indeed, a new wave, a new music, of which Schoenberg would have been proud. This reminds me of Terry Eagleton, who's a Marxist literary critic over in the UK. He was always very defensive of this idea, and I guess critical of other people of his political ilk to the degree they existed, who shared this particular view that, out with the old, in with the new, burn the past, forget it. It's all about modern, not knowing about history and having an appreciation for the history of art and culture is the world of Scruton-esque conservatives. And Eagleton strongly objected to that, claiming that it was in fact those who were most into the arts who tended to find themselves gravitating towards socialist policies, and Stravenhoyer's fixation with classicism and German, I would say, Enlightenment slash idealist era continental philosophic reconsiderations of ancient Greek drama, or sort of dialectical texts of post-war novels or experimental theatre, modernist theatre like Brecht's. They're very much trying to produce a socialism which is wired to a consistent classicism. Not socialism as a break, but socialism as it was posited initially by its initial theorizers, as this sort of quasi utopian meadow conclusion at the next step forward in the development of human societies. It's interesting how that there's been, it's somewhat controversial within the socialist thought block whether the idea of it being utopian is because it's criticized as being utopian from the other political end. Although, so I think some people don't like the idea of it being utopian, even in the socialist world, because they think it's like, oh no, we're not utopian, we're grounded in reality, we still this and that, blah blah blah. I think the idea of being utopian has gone a bit out of fashion, because I think some people do want to be perennially in conflict so as to, stab people in the back to the top. There's a lot more Stalins and Trotskys in this world, goes without saying. Anyway, we'll close it here. Thanks, everyone.